Everyone was utterly bamboozled by Monroe's true strength. The female senator practically had an orgasm on the spot. The fact that Monroe was still so young and already possessed sunlight level, as she noted, was truly remarkable. Turning with her signature taunting smirk, she tells the senator that she believes whether Lu Sheng is in his best shape or not is not going to make any difference. She then further explained that Monroe will be victorious. The senator, however, tries to keep his composure and counters, saying it's still too early to draw conclusions and that Lu Sheng hasn't lost yet, though the old man didn't sound as confident as he used to. The woman only replies coolly that they'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, seeing her smug face once again getting on his nerves, the senator can only pray that Lu Sheng gets back up soon. With that, the scene shifts back to Monroe. Feeling the wild surge of power coursing through him, he lets out an excited roar. Instantly, shards of ice explode outward, freezing everything in their path. The chill doesn't stop there, and it keeps spreading, eventually seeping into the universe. Monroe's body begins to change as well, after a quick outfit upgrade, an icy crown forming atop his head. At that moment, he looks every bit like a monarch stepping out from the frozen kingdom itself. Step by step, he walks toward Lu Sheng and tells him, "Sorry for the wait." The temperature plummets. The entire arena trembles under the cold. Spectators shiver, rubbing their arms and stamping their feet to stay warm. Someone even remarks that the rumors of him freezing an entire planet suddenly don't sound so exaggerated after all. Now, just a few steps away from our boy, Monroe decides to show his respect, or what passes for it. To honor Lu Sheng's immortal bloodline, he declares he'll end this with his strongest punch, all the while tells him to kneel before him. Then, with a deep breath, he clenches his fist. All of a sudden, the sky itself seems to churn as all the frost and cold in the air swirl together, gathering into his strike. Lu Sheng, still motionless, suddenly opens his eyes and smiles faintly. He murmurs to himself that he can't let her worry anymore. After all, she's expecting, and stress isn't good for the baby. Meanwhile, Monroe is already charging forward. His unprecedented punch cuts through the air, heading straight for him. The crowd erupts in shock. Some are convinced it's over. One spectator remarks that this is a peak 12th level attack, utterly incomparable to anything before, and seeing Lu Sheng's condition, they assume it's nothing but a one-sided slaughter. The female senator practically jumps out of her seat in excitement, while Yamu meanwhile begins to panic. The senator rushes to the chief executor, urging her to send help immediately, adding that Lu Sheng must not be injured, sounding all panicky. Back to the family, Dad was clutching Mom tightly as she covered her mouth, nearly screaming in horror. Snowy and Lu Qing have their hands clenched without even realizing it. In the end, little sis can't hold it in anymore. Tears stream down her face as she cries out to her big bro. Mom finally breaks down, sobbing uncontrollably, while their father keeps assuring her, over and over, that their son will be fine. Snowy, though more composed from the outside, still trembles with worry. Gently touching her belly, she prays that nothing happens to her hubby. Inside the arena, no one knows what's happening. The cold mist still lingers, shrouding everything. The caster stares at the big screen, unable to tell if the battle has already ended. He mutters to himself, could it really be over? In the stands, one spectator confidently declares there's nothing left to see. The result's obvious. Even if Lu Sheng isn't dead, he's surely gravely injured. Others quickly agree, murmuring the same conclusion. Soon, voices rise asking the caster why he hasn't announced the result yet. The poor man hesitates, unsure if he should, though he doesn't even know the result himself. Suddenly, a blinding light bursts from behind him. The heat wave slams into him, and when he turns, and there, within the smoke, he swears he sees two figures. As the smoke settles, before everyone's stunned eyes, Lu Sheng is standing. He's holding back Monroe's full-power punch, completely unfazed. Monroe's eyes widen with excitement, and he laughs like a madman, saying it's about time the true power of the immortal bloodline showed itself. Lu Sheng only smiles, admitting that he got a little distracted just now because he was too happy. The senator's emotions swing wildly, and the old man can feel his heart racing, astonished that Lu Sheng actually caught that strike. The female senator, meanwhile, grows serious, noting perhaps this is the true power of the immortal bloodline. Back on stage, the two of them exchange blows, shockwaves crackling through the air. Monroe remarks that this kind of fight is what he's been yearning for. He even admits he never expected to stain his hands with immortal blood today, calling it a delightful surprise. Lu Sheng listens, but with a mocking smile, thinking to himself that Monroe might be getting ahead of himself. With that, he launches forward, throwing a devastating punch, all the while declaring it's the end of the Ice Age. In his hands, a small golden crow appears. then expands dozens of times over. His aura surges higher and higher. Monroe, far from afraid, becomes even more ecstatic. This, he tells himself, is the battle he's been waiting for. Just then, Monroe's energy spikes again, and behind him, an enormous ice dragon takes shape. Fire and frost roar into existence, and both strike at once. When the two forces collided, ice and flame intertwined in a cataclysmic explosion. The impact rattles the entire arena, shocking the audience once again. The intensity of the clash has long surpassed what anyone could have imagined. The senator shoots to his feet, overwhelmed. Even he admits he wouldn't last a second between them. If he even got any close, he'd be reduced to dust instantly. It's hard for him to believe two youngsters could reach such strength. The chief executor, astonished, glances at him and asks if he means the battle's already reached 13th level. The scene then shifts to Farr, whose jaw practically drops to the floor. The senator forces himself to calm down, then shaking his head says, "Not yet." He further explains that he had once witnessed true 13th level fighting before, where even the fabric of the universe trembles and collapses. But even if they haven't quite reached that level, they're dangerously close, because he noted the space around them is already fracturing. Just then, the chief executor gasps again, realizing that Lu Sheng has been holding back. Back on the stage, the fire begins to melt away the ice. Flames surge forward, pushing Monroe back step by step. With another explosion, both fighters return to the ground. Monroe lets out a low chuckle and remarks almost mockingly, if that's really all the so-called immortal can do. Lu Sheng doesn't bother replying. Instead, he simply notes that Monroe's martial path is impressive and might just fill the gaps in his own. So he'll take it. With that, he snaps his fingers. The flames around him surge once more, brighter and hotter than before. By this point, our boy had officially stepped from instability into perfect balance, and this is what he called his second phase. The fire dances wildly, and for the first time, Monroe's confident face falters. Shock flickers across his icy eyes as he hadn't expected Lu Sheng to be hiding this much power. Lu Sheng remarks calmly that now, it's his turn. He launches his own attack, and Monroe hastily throws up an ice wall, but to his horror, the wall begins to melt almost instantly. He curses under his breath, realizing he can't block it. Redirecting the impact with everything he's got, he still flies backward several meters, blood spraying from his mouth. Dazed, he looks up at Lu Sheng in disbelief, wondering how this could be happening when his frost was powerful enough to freeze entire planets. Lu Sheng strides toward him. Energy continues to gather in his palm. He then proceeds to tell Monroe a story about someone who once shot an arrow at the setting sun. And when night fell, that very person thought he had struck down the sun itself. Monroe stares, still processing the words, when Lu Sheng suddenly reaches out. The moment his hand grasps him, Monroe freezes in terror, realizing he can't move, almost as if he were clamped down. When he looked up, he heard Lu Sheng ask if he found it ridiculous. Then come the flames, and agony tears through his body. Even Lu Sheng doesn't know whether his fire can completely devour Monroe, but one thing is certain. Given time, this fire could melt an entire planet, and he believed no frost could withstand such a temperature. Not Monroe's, not anyone's. However, Monroe breaks free but begins to panic. He just witnessed the true might of an immortal. He admits he underestimated Lu Sheng, even praises his power, but insists that Lu Sheng is still merely at 10th level, and there's no way he can actually defeat him. Before he can finish the thought, Lu Sheng appears before him. Our boy has no time hearing all that yapping, so his fist answers for him, slamming into Monroe's face and sending him crashing back into the ground. He tells him it was payback time, the same beating, returned in full. Punches after punches rain down. Monroe, humiliated and enraged, finally snaps. With a roar that shakes the arena, his frost erupts outward, pushing Lu Sheng away. The cold energy pours out like a tidal wave. Behind him, his martial avatar takes shape. Monroe declares that he will destroy Lu Sheng no matter the cost. At this point, he no longer cares about consequences. He burns through his own life force, unleashing a torrent of cold that spreads for tens of millions of square kilometers. Ships and space stations orbiting nearby begin to freeze solid. Even the caster's face ices over. The audience, meanwhile, isn't so lucky. Some weaker spectators were frozen solid despite the protective barriers. The senators panic and shout that the audience section is fortified with 12th level protection. So how is this happening? He orders an immediate evacuation. Turning toward the female senator, he snaps, demanding to know if her Monroe has lost his mind, burning his own life energy just to fight Lu Sheng. Why doesn't she stop him? Avoiding his glare, she confesses she can't. Monroe, she explains, is the strongest of their entire star sector. The senator clenches his jaw, furious yet helpless. He swears that if Lu Sheng dies, she'll answer for it. But deep down, even he knows there's nothing anyone can do. Monroe, consumed by madness, tells Lu Sheng he doesn't understand what the peak of 12th level truly means. The gap between them is almost 3 entire levels. Then he announces it's all over. Slamming his hands together, he unleashes his ultimate technique, Eternal Freeze. The force is so immense that even the senators far away feel the chill. Lu Sheng's family, who got evacuated, can only watch from a distance and pray. But Lu Sheng stands firm, calm as ever. He asks, almost casually, if the gap is really that big. He then gave his own answer, saying he doesn't think so. Extending his arm, he then throws the most casual punch ever. Yet this is no ordinary strike. He named this technique the true martial art Stellar Force Break, which he learned from his teacher. The moment it lands, it tears through Monroe's attack, devouring the Eternal Freeze in an instant. Monroe staggers backward, eyes wide with disbelief. He didn't even bother defending himself. All he could think was, is this really the strength of a human? Before he can answer, the energy engulfs him completely. When the light settles, Monroe is seen kneeling on the ground, looking dazed but alive. Lu Sheng approaches, pats him on the shoulder, and tells him quietly that the universe is vast, and there are countless powerful guys out there. This time, he was lucky because he got to meet him, but next time, he might not be so lucky.